We all know that it's voter suppression that is the name of the game when it comes to Republicans and elections. And thanks to what we hear in the news, if I asked you the question, do you think there have been more voter suppression laws passed in the last 2 years or voting rights laws passed in the last 2 years, how would you answer that?
Hey everybody, it's me, Kamala. So before I go on stage later tonight, I want to talk about the importance of voting. I know many of you plan to vote this year, but amidst the excitement and enthusiasm for this election, you've also heard about obstacles and misinformation and folks making it harder for you to cast your ballot. So I think we need to ask ourselves, why don't they want us to vote? Why is there so much effort to silence our voices? And the answer is because when we vote, things change. When we vote, things get better. When we vote, we address the need for all people to be treated with dignity and respect in our country.
I'm willing to consider anybody who presents himself as someone who will make the country better.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not encouraged by Kamala Harris's performance thus far, but
Give her
why
a chance. Give her a
why
chance.
not?
Guys, why not?
We only have like a minute 30.
Go ahead,
so I don't
use
have enough
it.
time.
Use it.
But
So would you vote for Harris Shapiro?
don't know. Let me see what they have to say.
Oh, but
You have to see what they have to say. Policy matters.
It matters.
cannot
Like,
sit
I'm
this
sorry.
one out.
I'm sorry that I care what people stand for. I apologize.
we do too,
I'm
but
not going to pre-commit
We
to it.
know what the other side
Let them
stands
perform
for.
and earn my
binary
vote.
choice.
People
Thanks
should
to
have their vote
Chris Christie.
earned,
By the
not
time,
given.
By the time.
Okay, so we all heard the big news came out yesterday morning. Joe Biden is dropping out of the re-election bid. He's dropping out of the 2024 race. We all saw it coming a mile away, and someone like Vivek saw it coming over a year ago. So we know this man will see now his mind is shot, and a lot of people are saying, is it going to be Kamala Harris? Are they going to have an open convention like people like Obama are pushing? I'm going to get to that in a different video. I'm going to talk about how she fares against Trump in a different video. What I want to talk about in this video is the Democrat voters. These people are mindless drones who will vote blue no matter who will do whatever the hell the elites, the rich people, the leaders in their party tell them to do. And I also want to talk about how the Democrats did this themselves, how they destroyed their own opportunity to have a competitive election, to have a competitive challenger for Trump. And now they're scrambling, infighting, about to destroy their own party. They're in a state of civil war. So voter suppression. These people act like the Republicans were so racist, so hateful. You can find a ton of YouTube videos, TikTok videos, all talking about how Trump, how certain states like Georgia were extremely racist. Oh, how dare you ask people to use ID to prove they are who they say they are when they want to vote? How dare the state of Arizona try to verify that these random people who cross the border, whether or not they're American citizens? How dare you try to do something so racist? You're causing voter suppression. You're disenfranchising voters by taking away the process for them. You're not allowing them to have a voice in a process. In fact, let's look at some of these drones. All these people protesting when Georgia passed that law saying that you need an ID, because we saw that funny business going on in 2020 in the Georgia election. So when Georgia said, look, you need an ID, you need to prove who you are, let's see all these drones bitching and crying about it.
This morning, from the courts to the Capitol, backlash to Georgia's new election law is growing. Now, opponents are setting their sights on Georgia's business community, hoping pressure on their pockets will push them to speak out against the sweeping law, which includes a new ID requirement for mail-in ballots. Republicans say that it will help secure elections, but critics call it blatant voter suppression. Across the internet, hashtags Boycott Delta and Boycott Coca-Cola are picking up steam, taking aim at the two Georgia-based giants. This morning, Coca-Cola's president says he is disappointed the law passed, adding, voting in our country is a sacred right and duty, and we recognize we have a responsibility to protect and promote it. A similar sentiment from Delta Airlines, calling voting access a fundamental right for all citizens. But upsetting some activists after parts of the statement appeared to praise the law, arguing it improved considerably during the legislative process.
It's not just a Georgia issue, it's a national issue, and they can't sit on the sidelines.
With Georgia's law already on the books, those opposed to it are calling on companies to support federal voting rights legislation and also urging them to speak out against other states weighing laws similar to the one in Georgia.
So my question to these mindless sheep is, where are you now? The Democrats stole the opportunity for the voters to have a voice in who the challenger to Trump would be. The Democrat Party forced them to accept Trump. The people at the top, the DNC, Obama, and all these people, they made the decision early on, over a year ago, to keep Biden in the race when they had ample time to get him out of there. And they told the voters to shut the hell up and accept what they're going to do. And that's what these voters accepted. Talk about voter suppression. They didn't have a worthy challenger to Biden in the primary because the Democrats literally sabotaged and rigged the primary. First of all, New Hampshire and Iowa are the states that always go first. It's always been the way for a century. All of a sudden, the Democrat Party schemed and plotted and made South Carolina go first. And the reason why is because all of those white people in Iowa and New Hampshire were not going to vote for Joe Biden. He was going to be embarrassed. He was probably going to get beat by RK, maybe even Marianne Williamson or Dean Phillips, somebody like that. So they said, okay, we can convince these Negroes that Biden is the guy, which is what they did, actually. So they put South Carolina first with a lot of black people. That way they can ensure Joe Biden doesn't get embarrassed by losing the first primary state. States like Florida, they literally canceled the election, the Democrat primary election. They canceled. They said, look, we got Biden. We don't care. Oh, Marianne Williamson, Dean Phillips, RK. We don't care. We're canceling the election, and we're going to give all of the votes, all of the delegates to Biden automatically. What did the Democrats in Florida do? They took it. They sat there and took it. They said, okay, Biden is our guy. What happened to all of that bitching and crying about voter suppression? When the Democrat Party, the DNC, the elites in this party, the rich people who run this party, who tell these mindless drones what to do, when they give them an order, the mindless drones just take it. All of that energy, this is how you know it's fake. This is how you know these people don't give a damn about the Georgia election laws, all that protests. They didn't give a damn. They just wanted to give Trump a hard time and the Republican Party a hard time. Because when they're tested, when they're put in that position, it shows their hypocrisy is exposed. These people are taking Kamala Harris without an election process. She wasn't even in a primary. Nobody voted for Kamala Harris to be the Democrat nominee in his primary. But all of a sudden, the Democrats are plotting and scheming to put her up top. And if it's not her, who they're going to put? Josh Shapiro, Gavin Newsom, I don't think he's going to be in it. But they're going to put somebody in there to be the challenger to Trump that the voters did not select. And the voters are just taking it. So anytime you hear Democrats bitching and crying about voter suppression, ignore it because they're hypocrites. Or bring this up. Ask them about this. So they're just going along with it. We got big influencers like Fat Lizzo, they're online supporting Harris. You got a lot of people online automatically supporting Harris. When the hell did y'all vote for Harris? All of a sudden, you got all these people, these influencers behind Harris. So you just took it. The Democrat elite said Harris is the one, and you just took it without a vote. Let's take a look at these fools.
For everyone saying that Kamala Harris didn't do anything when she was VP, please, for $5,000, do not use Google. Tell me what any vice president has ever done during their term that was notable that you noticed. The vice president's job is to take a back seat and support while the president does everything that's forward facing. And it's funny because when Joe Biden was VP, the only things I really remember him doing was making cool videos with Barack. But when he ran for president, I didn't hear that same, he didn't do anything when he was VP from people. So I wonder why y'all are saying it now. Can we all just be for real? I think there's enough BS in the world. Let's all be for real and just say our quiet parts out loud because the discourse is tired.
When people say Kamala Harris hasn't done anything, do they realize the vice president has no power, like at all?
Holy crap, another amazing thing. I just heard about it from Tristan Snell. It's not being reported by the mainstream media, of course. Check this out. So last night, apparently, there was a Zoom for Black women organizing for Kamala Harris. The call had a maximum of 1,000 people. They hit it immediately, and they got involved with the Zoom CEO to see if they could expand it quickly, which they did. 40,000 people joined the Zoom, and it lasted for 4 hours.
Like I said, they are completely bypassing the election process. They have an opportunity. They'll have to scramble really, really quickly. But they can have a national primary, have all 50 states put in votes at one time, maybe 2 rounds. They can have all of the candidates who want to be the Democrat nominee come in for a first round, and then the second round, the top 2 go at it. They'll have to do it really fast. It'll require a lot of effort, a lot of logistics behind that, and even some rule changes. But they'll have to move quickly with that. But they're not going to do that. What they're going to do is either prop up Kamala Harris, who was not selected by the voters, or they're going to have an open convention, and super delegates, the Democrats at least, they're going to select who they want to be the Democrat nominee. Damn what the voters do. They're going to say, voters, you ignorant sheep, you fools, vote for whoever the hell we tell you to. And that's what's going to happen. They're going to vote for it. But they did have an opportunity. Like I said, over a year ago, they could have got rid of Biden. The Democrats have been sabotaging themselves for a while now because of bad leadership. They think they know everything, but they don't. They had 2 good candidates, not candidates I would ever vote for, but when you look at the last couple of years, they had 2 candidates who probably would have been strong challenges to Trump. And I'm not talking about Gavin Newsom. The first candidate we're going to look at is the former New York Governor, Andrew Cuomo.
I wish you had run for president. I think you would win in a landslide right now. And you know that too. Is there any regret?
No, there's no regret. There's no regret. I'm doing what I said I would do. And when you are doing that and you've been true to yourself and you're true to the relationships around you, you have no regrets.
Andrew Cuomo has rapidly become, for many people, the reassuring face of America's fight against the coronavirus. The New York governor has been an ever-present presence amid his state's massive coronavirus fight. His daily press conferences, in which Cuomo alternates between cheerleader, psychologist, and stern but loving parent, have become must-see TV.
Are you thinking about running for president? Tell the audience.
No.
No, you won't answer?
No, I answered. The answer is no.
No, you're not thinking about it?
Sometimes it's one word. I said no.
Have you thought about it?
No.
Are you open to thinking about it?
No.
Might you think about it at some point?
No.
How can you know what you might think about at some point right now?
Because I know what I might think about and what I won't think about.
Now, we remember him during the COVID era, 2019, 2020, when he was being propped up to be the president. CNN, NBC, ABC, they were all kissing his ass, talking about he's going to be the next president. And he's the true president. See, Trump isn't an ignorant fool. He doesn't know anything about the pandemic. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's killing grandma. But Andrew Cuomo, thank God Andrew Cuomo is here and giving these daily press conferences because he's the real president. That's what they were all saying before. But for the Democrats themselves decided to destroy Andrew Cuomo because Andrew Cuomo had issues putting COVID patients inside nursing home, causing all types of deaths. There was some scandal going on behind that. How he actually mishandled. He wasn't some god in the flesh like the Democrats were painting him out to be. He actually made major mistakes when it comes to COVID. But they used Me Too to get rid of him. They said, look, this guy's becoming a liability, so let's Me Too him. And the Democrats got rid of a strong presidential candidate themselves. And now they actually want him back in. They've been trying to tease him probably for a year and a half or so. The media has been teasing, well, Andrew Cuomo, he's going to run for governor again. Maybe he's going to run for mayor of New York again. He's going to get back into politics.
Governor Cuomo. Direct question, first one off the bat for you. Are you planning to run for mayor of New York or launch another campaign for governor?
Oh, that is a direct
question. Can't get much
question.
more direct than that.
And there will be no direct answer. I just want you to know.
Come on, you two coaches. I know you're waiting to get out of the broad. No, we're not going to get anything there?
I have no current plans to make plans.
Okay.
Yep.
I thought y'all didn't like Me Too people. I thought once they were Me Too, they were destroyed. So you're going to vote for a guy who allegedly did these assaults on women? Because they know it was a farce. They just wanted to get rid of him. But now all of a sudden they realized that they got rid of one of their strongest candidates. And another one, RFK, he was in the primary. And the Democrats ruined his reputation. They realized he was a big threat to Joe Biden. the corpse who they wanted to prop up. They thought they can keep pumping him up with drugs forever, and the drugs are not working anymore. So they ruined this man. They called him a nutcase, some anti-vax loser, some lunatic, turned his own family against him and everything. Let's take a look at a couple of clips.
In the past too, which is your controversial views on vaccines and being part of the anti-vaccine movement.
What
in
are
particular.
my views on vaccines?
Well, you've said previously that no vaccine is safe or effective, which is...
I've never said that.
You did say that in a podcast interview in July.
I've never said that.
You did say that. There are quotes, and that recording is there.
You are wrong, and you're making something up.
On Fox.
About this very bizarre anti-vaccine rally in Washington today. Just strange stuff happening here in Washington, strange things afoot. Here's RFK Jr., the son of the former Attorney General. He's an anti-vaxxer making some incredibly offensive comments earlier today. Let's watch.
Sane, reality-based world, and yet they keep being attracted to it. You want to talk about technological surveillance state, talk about China. Don't talk about efforts to vaccinate people during a global pandemic. This is not about control.
So now RFK is calling them out. He's calling out this dumb decision. Look, I was here. I was in the race. You could have selected me instead of this corpse.
The Democrats have called themselves the party of democracy, but they ran the least Democratic primary ever. They skipped Iowa, New Hampshire, jumped straight to South Carolina. They killed all primary debates, booted RFK Jr. from the party because he posed a threat to Joe. Today, RFK Jr. held a press conference to tell Democrats, I told you so.
A year ago, a little over a year ago, when I entered this race, I predicted that President Biden suffered from a degenerative condition that was not going to improve and that it would make it impossible for him to govern effectively. The reaction of the DNC to that obvious condition was to hide it from the American public and to use their power over the Democratic Party nomination process to make sure that nobody could compete with President Biden in a way that would expose his deficiencies. And as a result, we are where we are today, which is in a period of crisis.
Presidential candidate RFK Jr. joins us now. So, RFK, you ran the right way. You did what you were supposed to do. You're a Democrat. You primaried a Democrat incumbent, and they wouldn't let you. How did they jam you out of this thing? Because now look at what happened.
Yeah, I think it was a strategic mistake by the Democrats, Jesse, and you and I have talked about this before. But they got rid of, they changed the primary rules while while we were running the primary. They changed 60 different rules to make it impossible for anybody to challenge Joe Biden. One of the things that you remember that they did to me is I'd been campaigning in New Hampshire, so they adopted a rule that said that any political candidate, any Democratic candidate who campaigns in New Hampshire, who steps foot into the state of New Hampshire, that all of their votes would go to the president, all of their delegates would go to the president, instead of going to that. And then they shut down the Florida primary. They shut down a bunch of primaries and just said, we're not running them. We already have our candidate. You know, a few weeks ago, President Biden was ridiculing Vladimir Putin, who won 88% of the vote in Russia. And he said, that was a fixed election, because President Putin had made sure no adversaries could challenge him, and also that he had fixed the press so the press wouldn't cover his adversaries. Well, the Democratic Party succeeded in doing the same thing. I haven't been allowed on any of the Democratic networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, as you know.
But you guys wanted the course because you guys want all of this control. The deep state doesn't like RFK for all of their reasons, and now, all of a sudden, you find yourself scrambling because nobody wants Kamala. Obama and them, they want an open convention because they don't want Kamala. And not choosing Kamala is going to cause a civil war in the party. So you should have let the primary process work out properly. And maybe RFK could have been your candidate. But too bad, so said. The Democrats are scrambling. They destroyed probably the two best candidates, challengers to Trump that they had. But here we are in the midst of a Democrat civil war. Let me know what you guys think about this. Leave me your thoughts below. Share the video. Thanks for watching.